Hello, everyone. It is time for our show, Travel the World as a Speaker. And we're actually going to have a short one today because I have to actually go and do a live stream webinar with Travel Noir. Yay! I'm really excited about that. So, I will be talking about how to get paid and travel the world as a speaker because that's what we do here. So there is still time for you to go register. All you have to do is, for my Instagram folks, go over to Travel Noir, TravelNoire, and click the link in the bio, or you can go to ifindyouclose.com/Travel Noir and you can register for the webinar, which is going to happen exactly at 6 p.m. I think it's 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, I think we got all the times ready because sometimes it's really hard trying to keep up with all these times. And now I'm freaking out. Now I feel like I need to go double check because I'm working with somebody on Pacific Time and they give me time in Eastern Time. And yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm really excited because today we're going to talk about how to sell from the stage. So I'm not going to have a travel story for you, even though I'm ready to travel right now. But I'm not going to have a travel story because I want to get directly into this because this is one of the ways you can make additional money or as a speaker. And to be straight up honest, a lot of speakers only make their money this way, and this is selling from the stage. It is a very interesting technique, and it's something that you have to be pretty good at because it doesn't just come to you. I had to learn how to do this, and it took some years of practice. Now, I'm not one of those that will definitely sell from the stage and make $1 billion, but I can hold my own a little bit, you know. But the more you do it, the more you get better at it, and of course, because we are doing all of these virtual events these days, I just got to be straight up honest with you. This is how you're going to make money, even when you're speaking for free. So we're going to go dive directly into this. Now, for my folks here on Instagram, I appreciate you hanging out. That's why I got all cutesy for you, because yesterday I wasn't that cute. But I got all cutesy for you because I have a webinar as soon as we are done, and I'm knocking things out of my ear. But yeah, I already lost what I was going to say. I don't even know what I was going to say. All right, so so for my folks here on Instagram, I'm going to be doing some graphics here on the YouTube channel. So you can come join us at ifindyouclose.com/YouTube. And for those of you who are on YouTube, just hang in there with me. This is the reason why I go live because, yeah, this would take 3 hours just to get a video out of me. So I just go live and we can just do it right now. All right, so let's talk about this thing called selling from the stage. Now, you have probably witnessed something like this before. If you've been to a sales seminar, you've been to a Tony Robbins type event, this is where they set you up. I won't say it's a big setup, but it's formulated so that you get all excited. You learn a whole lot while you're there, but they leave you hanging. So that you will want more. And then right when they're going to give you the juiciest tip, the thing that will make you the millions and millions of dollars, they tell you, like, look, here's the thing. I've worked with so many people that have changed their lives with my proven method. And as you can see, the methods are actually being proven right now. So if you want more, all you have to do is go to the back of the room and we will be standing by to help you change your life. Yeah, you probably have seen something like that. And a lot of people are a lot better than I am. And you get caught up in it. And it's like, oh my gosh, like they are good. One of my mentors is like that. Like, okay, I need to learn how to do this. And it might feel a little shady. It might feel a little creepy. But to be straight up honest, if you're not selling shady or creepy things, you won't feel bad about what you're doing. It is a sales technique. It is one of the methods that a lot of speakers use to sell coaching programs, to sell consulting programs. And I have seen where people, I know a lot of us, we want to get contracts to get paid to speak, which is great. I have seen people who have made more money in 3 hours just from getting on the stage, just by selling stuff at the back of the room. When I booked speakers for the events that I booked speakers for, a lot of them use this technique, and it always blew my mind how they were able to get people to buy something. And it's not always that they're being sleazy. Now, there are those who are absolutely sleazy. There are some there, they just have something that you want, and they tell a very compelling story in order to make you want more. Now, of course, if you have questions about any of this, please put them in the comment box. I will answer them. I may not be able to stay on too long because I have to get ready for my webinar, which I'm going to use some of these techniques tonight if you want to join me and see how it works. But it doesn't have to be sleazy. The thing I want you to really know is it is just having a compelling story and how you set up your talk in order to make people want to do more with you. Now, let's break down like what we're doing. And I'm going to put this in a frame of reference for virtual speakers. Now, a lot of us, if we've been out there doing this virtual speaking and we've been doing a lot of this stuff over the last year, what happens, especially in the virtual world, we set our talks up incorrectly. I'm just going to say it. We're not setting our talks up very well. And what you have to do is change how you present your talk. The first thing I've always told people inside of our program of iFind You Close, and of course, I didn't tell you that this is Travel the World as a Speaker, and and I am, and this is brought to you by iFind You Close, where we actually go out and find speaking opportunities for people who want to leverage speaking to market their business on stage. Hey, Miss Gigi, the host, how you doing? We're talking about selling from the stage. I'm of the age where I can't see that far away. I know. We're talking about selling from the stage and those who are leveraging speaking to get gigs. Now, like I said, this show is brought to you by iFind You Close, where we actually go out and find speaking engagements for people who want to market themselves and their brand on stage. So you can go check us out at ifindyouclose.com. Just go check us out and stick around and get your free assessment on how you can land high paid speaking gigs. Now, let's go back into this content. And like I said, for my IG people, you're going to have to come over here to YouTube if you want to see what we're doing. So just go to ifindyouclose.com/YouTube and we will get into it. Now, here's the deal. When you are presenting on stage, and we'll say that your stage is very virtual at this exact moment, so our frame of reference is going to be virtual. You have to change how you do your presentations. Now, what a lot of us do is we'll do a virtual presentation. They give us an hour. We literally take up the entire hour just talk. No. You need to stop doing that. Now, one of the things that we have to do when we're selling from the stage virtually, which is very different from selling from the stage in person, because what you want to do when you're in person, you definitely want to take up the entire time, because the longer you're up there, the more talking you will have to do to probably convert people into what you're doing. But when we're doing this virtual thing, things shape up a little differently. So the first thing is stop talking so much. If they give you an hour, talk for 30 minutes. I want you to have a compelling enough talk so that the other 30 minutes are just question and answer. Because if you're talking about something that people want to know, they're going to be asking you questions like back and forth. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Now, when you have this 30 minutes, I want you to change up how you're presenting your information. Like a lot of us, when we get in these presentations, we will talk the entire time. We may introduce ourselves and we'll talk about and we'll tell a little bit about ourselves, but then we just start getting into the content. We get into the content, and then when we get to the last 5 minutes of our presentation, we tell people how to work with us or how to find us. Stop doing that. Stop presenting what you have at the very end. You have to present it at the beginning. Ooh, I know. You're just like, what? So here's what I want you to look at. I'm going to bring up some notes, and I'm actually going to write. So for my folks on IG, you're going to have to just use your imagination or join us here on YouTube. Now, here is a very basic formula, and this is something that you really have to pay attention to. So what you're going to do, and it's going to be very awkward for me to write because I'm a slanted writer, but I'm writing on my laptop because I figured I should use this thing. So like I said, you don't want to present what you have to offer at the end. you want to put it at the beginning. So your basic formula is you're going to have an introduction. I can't do a period here. You're going to have an introduction. This is where you talk about yourself. So let's just say, you talk about yourself. And you got to give some credibility, meaning why are people credibility? Credibility. I can't spell credibility. Sorry. There's a couple of words in the English language that always bother me. Wednesday and credibility. And bothers me a lot. So what you have to first do is make sure you introduce yourself. Now, it's always going to be a timing thing, but you want to introduce yourself. You want to talk about yourself, credibility, give a funny story. You start your story, whatever the story is. That's all part of your introduction. Now, before you get into the content, now you kind of give them the idea. This is a thing called seeding. You're going to tell them what you're going to talk about. Give an overview of your presentation. Overview. Oh my gosh, I can't. Let's erase this. We're going to do some erasure. Where's my eraser? This is kind of cool, though, that you can do this on a laptop, right? I have a feeling there's a way I can switch back and forth, but I haven't become an expert on this. So you want to give a presentation overview. And what I mean by this is you're going to tell them, like a friend told me, you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. And what I mean by this is when I say tell them what you're going to tell them is you're going to sit here after you do your introduction and you're going to smooth your way into, all right, here's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to do this method tonight. I'm going to say, we're going to talk about 4 different things. We're going to talk about speaking, traveling, managing your money, and negotiating. And then, of course, I will give you some ways for us to work together. That's where you start seeding how you work with people, okay? In your overview, you're going to start talking about, you're just going to tell them what you're going to talk about. When it comes to your presentation, you're going to give them, the pointers of the presentation. And then you're going to make sure you seed, you just drop little sprinklets of how they can work with you, Now, you don't present it this way. You'll just say, I'll actually, and once we get deep into our content, I'll make sure you have a way that we can work together because I know you're going to have questions. So far, we have an introduction for our talk. You talk about yourself, your credibility, your story. I'm happy to be here tonight. Then you're going to do your presentation overview where you're going to just tell them, all right, here's what we're going to talk about. And for those of you who are feeling what I'm saying and you want to know more, I will show you a way that we can work together. This is how you start with the selling from the stage aspect of it. Okay. You want to start seeding because you want people to know that I'm not here just for fun. I'm actually going to tell you how we can work together. Okay. So you make sure that you put that in there. All right. So that they'll know what's coming. This is not being set up. I'm about to tell you what's going to happen. So don't be surprised. Now, the other part of the seeding is going to be at this juncture of your talk as well. This is where you're giving your credibility, the name of your company, maybe why you started the company, what your company does, what you do, especially if it is related to your talk. So the way I start all of my presentations, I come in and say, I'm happy to be here. My name is Phylecia Jones. I give a little story, definitely if I know the presenter or the person who introduced me. And I will always say, I'm the lead researcher and founder of iFind You Close, where we actually go out and find speaking engagements for those who want to get on stage. And I started this because it was something that I wanted to do. And I realized I wanted to leverage speaking so that I could travel. So because I'm talking to a travel community community tonight, I have to seed that in there. So like I said, if you got any questions about any of this stuff, let me know, because I want to make sure that I'm not going to lose you or anything, because these are some very interesting techniques, and I'm just giving you like a kind of a dumbed down version of it as well. There are definitely people who can coach on this very, very well. I had a coach on this. It is not something that I really use. So now that we're back to setting up our talk, so now we get into the core of our message. Let's see if I can get you to move. So now we get into the core of our message. Core of message. Now, this is where you shine as the expert. You get down into what it is that you know. But we're going to do something. So you're going to have point 1, A, B, C. So this is point 1. I could have done this differently. Point number 2. And I always say have 3 to 5 points of whatever you're talking about. And let's just say my presentation is going to have 5 points. And so A, B, C, D. It should be point 3, point 4. I feel like a school teacher with bad handwriting, but I think I'm doing pretty good. And then you're going to have a close. And you're going to reiterate a few things. So let me go over this. Now, here's the kicker. Here's how the sell from the stage works. So I just showed you that I get to the core of my message. I got 5 different things that I'm going to show you or teach you or talk about. And I already told you I'm going to talk about these 5 different things. But I also remember at this part right here, I told you I'm going to show you a way that we can work together if you're interested. Now, this is where that goes. It's going to go, and this is annoying me, so I'm going to erase. So give me a moment. I know, you're probably like, Phylecia, really? Really? You making me hold on like this? Yep. This is how your presentation is supposed to be. All right. So this is point number 3. Now, here is where it gets very interesting when you are trying to do a few things, and my little pointer thing isn't working. So let me go ahead and change to, I'm going to change to red. Hopefully you see that on camera. So this is where it does get interesting when you're selling from the stage. Somewhere in here or here, between these 2 points, I usually put it between point number 3 and point number 4, or point number 4 and point number 5. Never at the end. This is where you tell people how they can work with you. And I want to let you know that this method actually does work. Even if you're not selling anything, you're trying to get people onto your email address. If you're trying to, sell something, if you have a book, of course, if you have something to sell and you are allowed to sell it, this is where you're going to put it. Even if you don't have anything to sell, this is where you want to make sure people get on your email list. Whatever it is that you're offering, it could be, something to purchase, something to call you, discovery session, whatever it is. You want to make sure you put it here at these points. And I am going to make sure this is where you want it to be. What a lot of us do is we wait until the very end after we've talked. We wait to the end and people just are like, okay, I'm over this. The reason why you want to put it in between points 3 and 4 or 4 and 5 is you want to make sure they are, your points are, I hate this word, but juicy. You want to make sure your offer comes before your juiciest point, like the kicker, the one that's like, okay, the only reason I am here for this presentation is to learn about this thing. So like with my presentations, a lot of people only want to come because they want to know how to get paid. So I will talk through all of these things. And then point number 5 is actually how you get paid. But what I will do is put my juiciest point right before that. Let me know if this is making sense. I'll put it right before that because whatever I'm putting before this last point is going to help you even more. So that's why we have to make sure. That's why I always in these live streams, I'm always on you about having a product. Have a product. Have an email list, have something so that people can know how to get to you, because we want to make sure that this is going to really work out for us. All right. I'm going to go check and see if I have any messages. I'm going to have to sign off soon because I got to go do my check-in for this thing. But let's go ahead and go back over here. I'm going to go through this quickly. This is where you put your, because where you do your seeding of how somebody can work with you. And the other thing you want to do is, once you get down to this point as well, after you finish your close, after you summed it up, you're going to tell them what you just told them. You also put down here the very last thing of how they can work with you again. You want to put it here as well. I'll just make that a heart, because that's the last thing you're going to talk about before you go to Q&A. All right. So let's look at this. When it comes to this structure, this basic formula, we want to make sure we have an introduction. You're going to talk about your self-credibility. And this is where we're going to do a little bit of seeding right here as well. Just a little bit of seeding, because like, oh, she has a company, she's credible. Okay. Like, okay, I like that. Number 2, your presentation overview. You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them what you're going to talk about. And then you're going to seed right here. Hey, I'm going to give you a way for a weekend for us to work together. If you're feeling anything I'm saying, that's where you're going to put that. And then, of course, you're going to get like to your heart of your expertise. And then somewhere around here, before you get to that last point, let me repeat that. Before you get to the end, you're going to tell them how they can work with you. You're going to finish up. You're going to give a review. You're going to tell them what you talked about. And then at the very end, like, of course, if you're still feeling anything I have, all you got to do is sign up for my email list, purchase my thing, do all these things. That is, to be honest, that is the basics of selling from the stage, of structuring. Now, of course, the magic is all in how you present. You didn't need to see all that. The magic is in how you present, how you do the storytelling, how, if you have something that people want, you're going to have to pay attention to all of that. I just gave you the basics of how to set up your talk. The rest is going to be on you to do the little magic. Okay. That's going to be on you to make sure that you're compelling enough. You're telling that story well enough. You're excited. You're energized. And people are like, oh my gosh, I want whatever it is that you're selling. That is how you want to do this. And I've done that before too. And it's worked very well on virtual. That's why I am so on you when I'm telling you to go and be energized. You got to bring your energy when you're on camera. Let me see if I can find the video so you can go take a look at it. This is why this is so important, especially if all we have is virtual right now. You got to be compelling enough to sell from this camera, i.e. sell from this stage. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go over here. The video that I talked about is the how to be effective. This is the one I want you to go pay attention to. How to be effective as a virtual speaker. This is all of these other things that you need to bring to the table so that you can be compelling enough through this camera so that you can convert. This is how a lot of speakers make money. Just being straight up honest. This is how a lot of speakers make money. This is the supplement for those people. If you ever hear a speaker who says, I'm okay with speaking for free, it's because they got this right here. And I'm one of those people. I'm okay speaking for free because I know sometimes, just being honest here, I can do a whole lot more damage to my wallet, like the positive damage. Like I can fill my wallet up a lot better if I'm able to do this right here. Now, of course, when you go into a corporate setting, this is a no-go inside of corporate. No way. Because you are not there to do that type of stuff. But if you're going to other conferences where you're there to network, and you have a little bit more flexibility. Basically, if you're getting paid, you cannot do this thing right here. Like, no, you can't do it. I mean, if you're getting paid, you cannot do this. Okay. If you are kind of speaking for exposure, you can do a little bit of this, because not everybody's going to let you go full out selling. And this is why these people who do these live events, that's why they have to do it all day, because they're trying to sell. But for a virtual presentation, you can go a lightweight version of this. You could do a lightweight version of this, and it absolutely works. For growing your email list, this is how I grew my email list the first time around. I grew it to about 750 by doing this technique and going out and speaking, because I was able to convert. Oh my gosh, I could convert about 60% of the room onto my email list just by following this method. And this is somebody, I actually got trained in this. I worked with a sales coach, and one of my mentors was a sales from this stage doing live events. It's not really my thing to do it live, but it does absolutely work. So that's something I want you to think about. Of course, I got to take off because I got to get ready for my Travel Noir webinar. Hopefully you can join me. So I'm going to sign off on Instagram first. So, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to update this information a little bit later. So take care of yourself. I will see you tomorrow. For everybody else who's here on YouTube, I appreciate you. If you got questions, put them in the comment box, and I will definitely be checking for you tomorrow. And let me know. Let me know if this was helpful and if I need to repeat anything that I said. So hopefully you have an amazing evening, and maybe you'll join me in another 30 minutes. Bye.